righty, here we go. Hi there, Carson Meredith with you once again. It is Sunday night, June 15th. It is Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the dads and dad figures out there. Hope you had a great day. It is 7:30, basically 7:31 now. And we are still tracking some downpours this evening. It's really, guys, a carbon copy of what we had yesterday. But nonetheless, I'll show you where the downpours are right now, how long they're going to last for tonight. And then we'll look ahead to a very active week, including a new alert day that we decided to put up this evening for the middle part of the work week. It's not a, major outbreak kind of a situation, but it's close enough to where we want to go ahead and give you guys that heads up that there might be a few stronger storms Wednesday night, especially. So we'll talk about that in our discussion this evening. Let me get you outside to radar right now because there are still some downpours out there. There's this one band, really the last band of the night, that's going right through the southern parts of the metro, Bullitt County in particular, out into Harrison County, further out Crawford, Du Bois County, still some heavier downpours in the west side, and further to the east side of the downpour line. You've got some heavier rain about to move into Bardstown along Highway 150, out into Washington County, Kentucky, near Springfield. And a lot of these downpours have just been that, some brief heavy rain most of the day, which is what we expected. There hasn't been a ton of lightning, but there are a few lightning strikes still with this particular band I've got circled here for you. What's that say? 7 lightning strikes here in the last few minutes. So we'll keep an eye on it. No severe weather, nothing like that. But nonetheless, if you're, let's say, down near Shepherdsville, Bardstown's just now seeing that heavier activity. Further north, right over the radar at Fort Knox, pretty good downpour. Harrison County, south of Corden, primarily, over Dogwood. Macedonia seeing some heavy rain. Let's see, Leavenworth there in Crawford County, a lighter shower. Birdseye getting a bird's eye view of a heavy downpour at the moment. Sorry, guys, I couldn't help that pun. But most of these downpours will continue to fade over the next hour or two. We lose that heat of the day. Sun goes down just after 9 o'clock. So once we get closer to that time frame, most of these downpours should start to fade away. I can't say it's totally dry overnight tonight. It's truly a copy and paste of last night, guys. Honestly, you could go back and watch my video from last night to get tonight's forecast because it's the same thing. These downpours will fade in the next hour or two. Maybe a stray shower lingers overnight. Otherwise, it'll just be the fog that we'll have to deal with tomorrow morning. Again, had quite a bit of fog this morning. We'll do it again tomorrow morning as well. Who's watching? There's 233 of you watching on the socials. Crispy Brisket's always there. Hello, hello. Kathy in E-Town. Anita, hello. Yeah, the day's been good. Thanks for asking. John says hi and Shively. Angela's always tuning in. We appreciate you, Angela. Noodlehead77 on YouTube says hello from Perryville. Appreciate you watching out in Perryville. Sean says hey from Taylorsville. Cooking up some New York strips. Making me hungry. I haven't had dinner yet. Sounds good, Sean. Well done. Reagan says, hi. Am I going to have to corral the dogs into the basement this week? I don't think so. Yeah, I made the decision to put that alert day up for Wednesday, mainly for a wind potential. I don't see a huge tornado concern Wednesday night. It's just one of those situations that we'll have to babysit Wednesday night and perhaps into early Thursday. Let's zoom out radar real quick. We'll get back to the comments in a few. You can see that we're kind of in the middle of two weather makers. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? It's been the storyline for much of the year. So this low pressure is what's responsible for all the rain that we've had this weekend, all the downpours we've had that we had yesterday and that we had today. And it's causing all kinds of terrible issues in the mountains. there have been several fatalities, I believe, from flooding in West Virginia today. Trying to see if I can find some information for you on X, reliable weather information. But yeah, you can see numerous flash flood warnings in West Virginia and Eastern Ohio. The U.S. Open golf tournament, which we are currently airing on Wave and NBC, they had about a 2-hour weather delay because of this system. And they're still playing here at 7:30. They're running out of daylight, that is for sure. So yeah, there's some pretty significant damage, it looks like, in West Virginia from flooding earlier today because of this system. And there were fatalities, I do believe. I can't find the specific number for you right off the top of my head, but think about those folks in West Virginia. They're dealing with bad flooding again, and we're all too familiar with that, right? After what happened back in February and April. But nonetheless, that low is getting a move on, slowly but surely, obviously. And you look off to the west in Missouri, and you see another low in the Ozarks. Here we go again. This is going to be our second disturbance in this stretch of unsettled weather. That low is going to move on in as we get towards tomorrow. And that will increase our rain and storm chances again, especially tomorrow evening. Monday's going to be a little different in the sense that while we'll have scattered storms potentially during the day, there won't be as many. But the big difference is the storm chances will get higher late day, and we'll keep some pretty high rain and storm chances around into Monday night. So it's not going to be like the last couple of days where most of the downpours faded with sunset. We're going to keep those rain and thunder chances around through the night tomorrow night as that second low pressure moves in. Here in Louisville, we are dry. Those downpours went through the south end for a brief moment there, but they have pushed south of Jefferson County. 84 is our current temperature. It feels miserable. It feels terrible out there. The dew point is 69. It gives you a heat index of 88. And I'll be honest with you, we had a lot more sunshine than I thought we would today. And our high temperature here in the metro was around 88 or 89 degrees. So we got close to our second 90-degree high of the year. In fact, we may have briefly touched 90 yet. We don't have the final number just yet. But it was quite a bit warmer than we initially expected. So for overnight tonight, I did not have to change this graphic a whole lot because it's the same thing as last night. The downpours are going to fade past sunset, and then we'll turn our attention to that fog tomorrow morning. And that fog this morning was fairly widespread. We had some visibilities under a half mile in many spots, especially in southern Indiana, down towards E-Town. That visibility was under a half mile. Madison, Indiana, you guys had visibility under a half mile this morning. And you notice overnight tonight, because of all that warm, moist air in the atmosphere and all the moisture in the ground from the rain, and the clouds also lowering as we go through the overnight hours tonight, that's all going to act together to give us a foggy start to the day on Monday. So just like this morning, not everybody's going to see that fog, but if you do, it's going to be dense. So wherever you are, just to be safe, tack on an extra 5 minutes on your morning drive in the morning. Well, morning drive in the morning, of course. That makes sense, right? Just give yourself an extra 5 minutes heading to work and you'll be fine. But there could be some pretty low visibilities, half mile to a mile, heading towards sunrise. And then as we see the sun come up, the atmosphere starts to get mixed back up a little bit, and that fog dissipates pretty quickly by about 9 o'clock. So yeah, that aspect of the forecast is a carbon copy. Downpours fading shortly, fog tomorrow morning. Here's the storm chances for tomorrow. This is where things get a little different, right? First low pressure is moving out, so that means that at least the first half of the day will only feature a isolated shower chance, 20, maybe 30%. But as that second low starts to move in during the afternoon tomorrow, that's when those thunderstorm chances will climb again. And because that low has a little more energy than the first one, we're going to keep those rated storm chances into the evening and into the overnight hours tomorrow night. No severe weather tomorrow night. Just might hear a few rumbles of thunder while you're trying to sleep. 40 to 60% chance once we get past, let's say, 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, all right? So I'll let you digest that. We'll look at the comments here. Sarah, going to Gatlinburg this week. I'm jealous. I hope it is dry. I'll be honest with you, Sarah. I haven't really looked at the forecast down there. I don't think it'll be pretty similar, actually, with storm chances. But maybe not. No washout days down there, I can tell you that. Let's see. Sean says, we were out at Nolan earlier, had some heavy downpours. Hoping to see one of those cold air funnels. Yeah, we didn't have that today. The environment wasn't conducive for cold air funnels today, but we did have one in Lebanon yesterday. Lebanon, Kentucky, down there in Marion County. Certainly a unique phenomenon. Heading to Nashville next weekend. Okay. Hope the weather is good. It looks good, but it looks very, very hot. That's going to be the next big weather maker once we get past all this stormy nonsense. So here we go with Futurecast for tomorrow. And you'll notice at the top of the screen, I've started to label when we've got day after day after day of storms. I think it gets a little muddy when we show these Futurecast maps. So I want to start showing what day of the week it is and a little more explicitly. So here's Futurecast for tomorrow, Monday. Isolated showers early in the day, light stuff, not a big deal. We get into the afternoon, here we go, right? This is 6 p.m. You see those heavier storms off to our west. This is with that second low pressure that I showed you a minute ago that's out of Missouri and Arkansas tonight. It'll be moving in around dinner time tomorrow. Let's kind of imagine that, let's imagine that low pressure, you get the general idea. So it'll be lifting north and east, basically along the Bluegrass Parkway or the Kentucky Parkways. And as it does so, it's going to bring that chance for those heavier downpours again, some lightning. But there's no severe weather threat on Monday. Notice how that storm coverage is much more widespread tomorrow evening. So it's not going to be a situation where we dry things out tomorrow night. We're actually going to ramp up those rated storm chances. So a few rumbles of thunder might wake you up Monday night. No severe weather. You don't have to worry about sleeping in the basement or anything like that. And as we head into Tuesday, that low's still nearby. But I will say this second low that's moving in is going to be a smidge faster than the one it's faster than the one we're trying to get out of here tonight. So that means for Tuesday, at least for now, the highest storm coverage is going to be early in the day on Tuesday. So it's the opposite of Monday. Monday, storm chances are higher later. Tuesday, storm chances are higher earlier. We get to Tuesday afternoon, there could still be a few scattered downpours around because it's still going to be warm and muggy. But the higher coverage will be earlier in the day as opposed to later in the day on Tuesday. Then we get to the middle of the week. This is the new alert day that we have now in place for Wednesday evening. We may get a decent bit of dry time Tuesday night through Wednesday morning. Mostly dry, at least. But remember last night, we talked about how the pattern is going to shift to northwest flow. In other words, you're going to have basically the storm actions coming in from the north and west as opposed to the south, like so. And what we'll have to watch is this cluster of showers and thunderstorms up towards Chicago, Indianapolis, and St. Louis. The big question that we have to figure out, well, there's several, but the big one is obviously, can these strong storms maintain their strength as they move into our area Wednesday night? And that truly comes down to timing. I'm talking to the hour. If this system speeds up 2 hours, might be a whole different ballgame with even more strong to severe storms. But if it's a little later, we may just have some rain and thunder. But because this is an evening and overnight risk, I wanted to just go ahead and give you guys that earliest alert that this is something you might need to pay attention to Wednesday night, especially before you go to bed. Main issues will be heavy rain and damaging wind gust. A lot of times this time of year especially, these big storm clusters, these mesoscale convective systems, that's the fancy meteorological term, MCSs. These MCSs, they just kind of take a life of their own. They just keep on trucking. And the models can struggle with the exact timing of when these MCSs or these storm clusters actually start to weaken. A lot of times they weaken them too quickly. And instead, they just keep on barreling through and causing more problems more than in other places that we didn't expect. So that's why I'm kind of being a little cautious and going ahead and raising the flag for Wednesday night as an alert day. Again, main issues are going to be heavy rain, lightning, obviously, and damaging wind gust, straight line wind. Not much of a tornado threat. And there could be one or two of these storm clusters. There might be one that goes through central Indiana, kind of clips our Indiana counties. Then there might be another one that moves a little further south in a better environment that hasn't been touched that could clip more so our Kentucky counties. That's not a guarantee. I'm just kind of throwing out some of the potential scenarios that we might have Wednesday night. I still believe the greater threat is up to the north and west of us, up towards Chicago, Indy, St. Louis. But the risk for us is still there. I think some of us will be put in a slight risk on Wednesday. Just my gut feeling based on how these setups have played out in the past. So we'll keep the alert day up for now. And you know what? If we get closer and we look at it and we're pretty confident these storms are going to totally collapse before they get here, we'll take the alert day down because we don't panic, you guys. We're not going to stress about being just rain. But if there's a chance for strong storms, we'll keep the alert day in place. I would rather have the alert day and nothing happen than not have the alert day and things get wild, right? Better safe than sorry. I have the alert day still in place for Thursday morning just to make sure that all these storm clusters are out of here by Thursday morning. So again, it's mainly Wednesday night, but we'll just have to make sure those strong storms don't linger into the early part of Thursday as well, which a lot of you do have Thursday off because it's a holiday with Juneteenth, but some of you will obviously be at work on Thursday too. Speaking of Thursday, like the entire day, there'll be a frontal boundary still nearby. So we may not necessarily have those storm clusters like we're going to have Wednesday night, but during the day on Thursday, as long as that front is still around, we'll have that chance for a few scattered storms. Not expecting severe at this point, though, on Thursday during the day. If we have any severe on Thursday, it would be likely before sunrise during the very early morning, while a lot of you are trying to sleep, I'm sure. So here's the severe risk. Again, this is for Wednesday. It's pretty similar to what I showed you guys last night. In fact, I don't really think it's changed much at all. But you see that slight risk in yellow, which is a level 2 on our scale of 1 to 5. That still includes southern Michigan, northwest Ohio, a good chunk of Indiana. That's not southern Indiana, Indianapolis, St. Louis as well. Now, I don't like to say, okay, I think the SPC should do this or should do that. Some other people in town like that. I don't. They're professionals. They know what they're doing at the SPC. But my gut feeling is that zone that's yellow right now that you see on the map is going to become orange. That means it's going to become a level 3 risk, an enhanced risk to our north and west. And a lot of times that usually means areas around the enhanced risk will get a slight risk. So I would not be surprised if we see that slight risk get expanded further south to include our counties along the Ohio River and into southern Indiana. Okay. I really think the threat with this is going to be at its highest along and north of the Ohio River Wednesday night. The further south you go into Kentucky, the later into the night you go. And eventually, at some point, these storm clusters are going to weaken. But the question is when. If they weaken slower, we'll have problems. If they weaken faster, we'll be in good shape. So it's kind of a wait and see situation. But we don't want to throw up the alert day last second and you guys don't have the time to at least know about it and mentally prepare yourselves for it, right? Better safe than sorry. So there's that. Joanna has a great question. I think a lot of us are asking this. When can I cut the grass in E-Town? Well, we've got these storm chances around through Thursday. Next weekend's pretty dry, but it'll be pretty hot as well, which is a nice segue to what we have coming up next weekend, which is our first heat wave of the year. I'm becoming very confident we're going to have 3 or 4 days in the 90s starting next weekend. In fact, I bumped up those highs to 92 Saturday, Sunday, and next Monday. So not tomorrow, next Monday. There's some models suggesting 93, 94. I'm not ready to go there just yet because, Joanne, to your point about mowing the grass, because of all the moisture in the ground, a lot of times this time of year, it's harder for those temperatures to get really, really, really high. If we had a dry ground and we were kind of teetering on the edge of a drought, I would definitely nudge those numbers even higher into the mid 90s next weekend. But when you've got more moisture in the ground, that kind of keeps the temperatures in check. Not by much, but by a degree or two. And when you're talking about the 90s, that makes a big difference, right? Long story short, once we get past the stormy setup now through Thursday, the big story is the heat. We'll dry things out next weekend, maybe a stray shower, but that's it. Not like we had this weekend. And that'll allow those temps to surge into the low 90s. Look to the west. St. Louis next Saturday, 95. Little Rock, 96. Denver. Wow. How about that? Denver, Colorado, Saturday, forecast high 100 degrees. In the Mile High City on Saturday. Look at Omaha, too. The Cards are still in it. They pulled off that big comeback today. Maybe they're still one of the last ones standing next weekend in Omaha for the College World Series. It's going to be very, very hot for most of this week up in Omaha, but especially next weekend, which I believe would be the National Championship Series. So Cards got a long way to go to get there, but hey, you never know. But the heat will certainly be the big story here in Wave Country and across much of the U.S. next weekend. All right, here's the 10-day. Again, the alert day is out for Wednesday evening and overnight. So that's kind of why you see that red on the 10-day bleed into Thursday, just to make sure that those storms get out of here on Thursday morning, just to be safe. We might be able to trim that off as we get closer. But in the short term, we've got more of these scattered storms to deal with tonight, and then tomorrow evening, tomorrow night, early on Tuesday, and then we focus on Wednesday night and early Thursday with that alert day. And then we can breathe. Although it's going to be hot. As far as the heat index next weekend, by the way, right now I think mid-90s is a good bet for what it's going to feel like with that humidity. But there are some models. This is pretty far out to talk about heat index numbers, but there's some models suggesting we could get those feels like temperatures near 100 when you factor in that humidity. So we'll keep an eye on that. Right now, we'll play it on the lower end and just say mid-90s at this point is what it might feel like with those highs in the low 90s. And then as we get into the last week of June, early gut feeling is what is that? Next Tuesday, the 24th. Yeah. June 24th, 25th onward, it gets a little active again, a little stormy. But it's just this time of year around here, right? So I'll let you digest that 10-day, and we'll look at a few more comments, any questions you might have, and then we'll roll on with our Sunday evening. Let's see. Kelly, hello. Late to the party. No severe Monday or Tuesday. I don't think so. No, it'll be pretty similar to what we've had the last couple of days. Heavy rain, lightning, main issue. And with those storms moving in tomorrow night, obviously we won't have the heat of the day. So, it may just be more rain tomorrow night than anything else. But if we do have thunderstorms tomorrow night, they will not be severe. Reagan, thank you for keeping us up to date at the earliest. Thank you for the kind words, Reagan. We appreciate you watching and trusting us. Oh no, Sean says he hears thunder in Taylorsville. He's got to get the steaks off the grill. Ugh. Make it quick, Sean. Get those steaks done quick. I'll check radar real quick before I wrap up tonight, so you guys get one last good look. Peggy on Facebook. Hello. Just got heavy rain near E-Town. Now the sun is out with a lot of blue in the sky. That is summertime. That is summertime in wave country. It can be pouring buckets of rain for 5 minutes. Then you look off to your left or your right, and it's bright blue skies. Your neighbor at the end of the cul-de-sac might not have a drop of rain, right? It's just the way it is. Let's see. Judy asking about some dry time. There will be some dry time each day this week. Obviously not all day. If you're looking for more all-day dry time, look towards next weekend. That, of course, is when we heat up too. Let's see. Weather Geek has a good point. All the moisture in the ground, that's going to make things feel even a little more humid. It will, especially in the evening and overnight hours when everything kind of settles, the atmosphere isn't as mixed up. That's when it just feels nasty when you get outside, right? So yeah, that especially is a factor in during the evening and overnight for sure. Crispy says this sister lives in Washington. It's been in the 50s and 60s and dry all week. Man, now that sounds good. That sounds really good. I'm jealous. We'll all be begging for that soon enough. Let's see. All right. Jonathan, hello. Traveling to the ATL on Thursday. Should I expect a wet drive the whole way down? Well, if you're going to Atlanta on Thursday, Jonathan, you're going to be following that front. So like that front's moving through here on Thursday. It's moving south and east out of here down towards Atlanta. So, it's too early to say if it's going to be like nonstop rain for you. I don't think it will be, but just know you and that cold front, quote unquote, are going to be moving in the same general direction. So you might have some scatter storms to contend with as you're making that trek down to the ATL. Safe travels. All right. As promised, I'll do one more radar check, and then we'll wrap it up for this evening. Appreciate you guys tuning in. 550 of you just on our social media platforms. How awesome is that? Appreciate all of you. So the last show in town is still this band just south of Louisville, south and west, that stretches from Washington County, northern Washington County, north of Springfield, really up towards Willisburg. And then some pretty heavy rain now north of Bardstown. Bardstown's actually kind of surrounded by that heavier rain. So heads up, Bardstown, you may have to deal with some ponding on the roads here over the next little while as these storms continue to move through and slowly weaken. Heavy downpour right over Fort Knox, and then a couple more downpours out in Crawford County, Indiana. And you see the lightning count, it's a 3. So most of these are just downpours. Sean, I know you're in Taylorsville. These downpours are clear Taylorsville. So you should be in good shape to get your grilling done. But again, as we lose the heat of the day over the next hour, we should be in good shape to see these fade away. But do be on the lookout, especially in Bardstown, for some ponding on the roads, maybe some minor flooding in a few spots, a few trouble spots. But that's the show for tonight. That's about it. Those will fade away here in about an hour or 2 as we lose that heat of the day. All right, guys, 10 days coming up one more time. Stormy setup the next few days, 4 days to be exact. But it's really only Wednesday night and early Thursday morning that we're watching for any severe risk at this point. And hopefully we can drop this alert day, get rid of it quickly. But because we want to make sure these storms are going to actually weaken before they get here. So until we know that for sure, we'll keep the alert day in place. All right, guys, that's it for now. That's it for this weekend, I guess, here on the digital side of things. If you're still up tonight, if you still watch TV, if you're old school, you can watch us on Wave News at 11. The golf tournament should be ending. I mean, they're going to have to end. It's going to get dark on them. But we will have our newscast on TV tonight at 11. Brian will be back in the morning, I believe, with Storm Talk. And I will see you guys again on TV after tonight on Thursday. I'll be doing the Sunrise Show on Thursday morning. So take care of yourselves. Have a great week. Stay dry as much as you can. And I will talk to you guys later. Take care.